Hello, hello, hello. I just gotta make sure you guys can hear me alright. Maybe you can't. I'll move this closer. Let's go here. How's that? That's a little bit better, I think. What's up, guys? How are we on this evening? Good evening. It's like 1 a.m. I'm crocheting. What's my favorite kind of cheese? I think mozzarella, maybe? Why is this? Okay. Probably mozzarella. Yeah. Mozzarella, because you can do so much with mozzarella. I'm getting like... I'm going to also be going live on TikTok now as well. So we'll have that. Why did this? Hold on. I set up my new camera today. Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. My ADHD medicine wore off like an hour and a half ago. So my brain is a little bit less organized right now. That's a good question, got J1472. And I will answer it in a moment. I have to fix this camera though. Because, I mean, look how clear it is. Look at that. It looks so nice. I set up the new camera. Or I guess this is actually the camera that I record my regular videos with. But I finally got it set up to do live streaming. It just does a power saving mode thing. So I have to figure out how to get it to not. I forgot to do a thing. Power save off. Yeah, so that should have done it. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna Google this. What time is it for me? It's 1:42 in the morning. Turn off demo mode on Sony AX53. Yeah, how to cancel the demo mode. To disable the demo mode on the camcorder, insert a cassette tape. What? Some models have a demo mode option available in the menu. System is not disabled by inserting a cassette. Refer to the operating instructions supplied with the camcorder for the procedure. What? A cassette? What do you think I'm using, sir? Oh, man. It told me to insert a cassette tape. This camera is like new. So let's I mean, volume, motion, interval, AGJ, download music, no. Empty music, no. No. TCUB, no. Ah ha 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 ha. Gotcha. Didn't. Recording turns the camera recording lamp. No, I don't know about that. No. Cancel. Demo mode. Demo mode. I found it. I found it, guys. We're all set. We did it. I did it. Look, okay. It's a nice camera, right? You can see that just by looking at it. Like it's high quality. I spent a decent amount of money on it. It's nothing like professional grade by any means. But like it's clear imaging and all that. The problem is it had like an auto power save feature called demo mode. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to turn it off until literally just this moment. Also, I was about to go live on TikTok, but then I forgot. Sarah Ross asked me to do this. So we're gonna record a video on live right now. Sarah Ross asked me to do this. It's should you ask your crush out tomorrow? Do it tonight. What do you like? Come on now. Why wait? All right, so never mind on the Sarah Ross thing. She said it's cool if I don't. And it's a little late, so. Okay, so now there's really not this many things happening, right, in my life at this moment. But the ADHD is wild. So now we're going TikTok live as well.
Hey, my name's Tyler, and this is my...
Go live. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. So now we're good on both. I have just like a couple clerical things that I need to do, and I guess we can stay on live for that. I have shows coming up, guys. Hi, Ben. Quick question. Are you okay with fan art? Yeah, I love fan art. I have 2 boxes of stuff. There's a box right here next to me right now, and there's a box in my closet full of everything you guys have sent me. I don't throw out anything. And that's partially because, you know, I have ADHD and it's hard for me to like finish tasks. But part of that is because I don't want to throw out the stuff that you sent me. So I have this box right next to me is full of basically every letter you guys have sent me. And then the box in the closet is full of everything that's not a letter that you've sent me. I could literally go through and read every letter that anyone has sent me. It's all right here, other than the stuff that I haven't opened and read yet. Hey, what's up, guys, on TikTok? We're getting a little bit of a few followers in there right now. I am also live on YouTube if you would prefer that interface. I'll let you know right now, the camera's a little bit better on the YouTube one. So I look prettier on YouTube is what I'm saying. So here we go. I have to set up I have some shows coming up, right? And I have to make sure that I get them like written down, or else I will forget about them. Don't tell me to go to bed. I have stuff to do. See, why does this camera... It did it again, guys. Demo mode off. Okay. There we go. I think I guess it didn't save last time. Do I have a notebook for ideas and skits? I do. I have a notebook right next to my bed at all times because I'll wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning with just an idea and without my phone or because I don't sleep next to my phone. I keep my phone on my desk away from my bed so that when I wake up, I can't just continue lying there. I have to do something to get out of bed, so that I leave my phone away from my bed. So I wake up, I get out of bed, and I grab my phone over here. So I keep a notebook and a pen by my bed at all times. So if I wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning with an idea, then I have something to write down. It's not very often that I do that, but it does happen. And then I wake up the next morning, I read the notes, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I'm performing at, is it the Looney Bin? Looney Bin, yeah, in Little Rock. I'm performing at the Looney Bin in Little Rock, Arkansas at the end of the year. It's a New Year's Eve show weekend. But I haven't written this down on my calendar yet because I haven't looked to see like the show times. So I'm doing that right now. So let me look at the calendar. I'm with my good friend Jersey. He will be headlining. Gosh, they don't have the shows. So, I mean, if it looks like it's a Wednesday, Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Right? So, as long as those are all the same, I'm sure the New Year's Eve show will be a little bit different. But let me clear my throat. Gosh, because Jersey hasn't responded to me. So, I'm updating my personal calendar. Looks like it's gonna be Wednesday, December 30th, Thursday, December 31st, Friday, January 1st, and Saturday, January 2nd. And that's going to be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, thanks for the donation there, Savannah Swap. Savannah Swap. I did say Jersey. If you're in Orlando and you've been to some comedy shows here in Orlando, you probably have seen Jersey at some point. Yeah, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, thanks for that donation. The real United States. All right, so let's go ahead and end of December is the 30th, right? Okay, I said the 30th. We're going to go Little Rock. Yeah, okay. What time are those shows on Wednesdays? 8 p.m. Perfect. So we got yep, 8 p.m. Cool. And then another one here. I believe that's 8 p.m. again. Yep. And it looks like Little Rock, Looney Bin, but this one is gonna be 7:30 to midnight. And the shows are gonna be at 7:30 and 10. Right? Okay, and then we're gonna do the same thing over here for, yeah. So that looks good. And then, yeah, so I'll be Little Rock, Arkansas at the Looney Bin at the end of December, literally for the New Year's Eve show. And if you didn't know, New Year's Eve is like a really big day for comedy. I had no idea that was such until I started doing comedy. Like, and then I did some New Year's Eve shows. I was like, wow, like it's always packed. Yeah. So yes, that will be live. I'll be there. I go to college about 30 minutes away from Little Rock. Oh, awesome. I will see you there then. Do I know a Kevin or a Corey Brainerd? I do not. Translations for DC for Louisiana. Fedodo means big dance. Where Zydeco music is played. Sha means something cute or precious. Kuyan, yeah. Caitlin, I don't know if you've seen my videos, but I've actually used all of those as Louisiana. So that's my stuff for Little Rock. Oh, now I have to text my assistant that. I feel so weirdly pretentious when I say my assistant. It's just a friend I pay to do start like a few things for me. New shows. No tickets yet. 6 shows. Little Rock, Arkansas, Looney Bin. Ooh, don't know how to spell. At the Looney Bin. I apparently cannot. I'm typing, I'm texting on my computer because Max. but apparently I can't like everything is a separate text. I can't like separate it. I can't hit shift enter, which is a little bit annoying. Okay. I'm not pretentious, I'm professional. I'm a little bit of both. I'm not like fully one or the other, but I am a little bit of both. Do you perform at SAC? I have performed at SAC. For those of you who don't know, SAC is a comedy lab in downtown Orlando. They're mostly known for improv comedy. That's like the thing that they do constantly. I have done a couple stand-up shows there before, but it was just kind of like a one-off thing. It wasn't like they don't do it all the time. Hey, guys in the TikTok chat, I know you're like 12, but stop spamming the same thing over and over again, please. And the one that asked, no, it's the Looney Bin in Little Rock, not the one in Oklahoma City. Although, if the one in Little Rock goes well, I will probably be performing at the one in Oklahoma City. All right, and then I have another show in Kansas City. At the Comedy Club of Kansas City. And this isn't exactly official yet. But I'm confident enough in it. Oh, Sam Morrill is gonna be there that weekend? What? That's dope. So I'm gonna put information in my calendar. Kansas City, Missouri. It's probably gonna be at like 7:30 till 9-ish. What is Brad's name? Okay. That one's not official yet. I'm waiting for just like the last piece of confirmation on that show. But should be at the Kansas City Comedy Club on December 16th. Brad's name is Brad. Good job, guys. I spaced on his last name. I wish you could come to the Comedy Cabana in Myrtle Beach. I have tried to perform at the Comedy Cabana before, a few times, actually. And very lovely people that own and run the Comedy Cabana in Myrtle Beach. But, boy howdy, do they not know how to read emails sometimes. They've asked me for my available dates a few times, and I give them, and then they never get back to me, and then months later they'll email me again and ask for my avails again. And it's just been on this cycle for like a couple years now, I think, where they ask me for my available dates, and then I send them, and then nothing happens, and they ask me again. It's a little bit annoying, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Come back to Jacksonville. Your lasso sold out too fast. I will probably be back in Jacksonville. Thanks to you, I had to ask my 15-year-old son what WAP was. Oh, Lord. I hope he didn't actually tell you. Where did I get my Alaska outfit? Somebody sent it to me. I didn't go looking for it myself. Everyone in the TikTok chat, say goodbye to Lil Scoozer for being an annoying spammer. 12-year-olds. What are you going to do, right? Also, for those of you wondering, thank you for the donations, Just Ryan J. For those of you wondering, these aren't like prescription glasses. These are just blue light blockers. He just laughed at you and told you to Google it. Did you Google WAP then? Where did I get my Wisco hat from? Again, somebody sent it to me. Most of the stuff that I have, you can pretty safely guess that somebody sent it to me. Yeah, I just put out the APB, the all points bulletin. I say, hey, I need stuff for this state. And then literally like the next day, somebody will send me something. So, do I need other things from other states? I don't think so. I mean, it's been a while since I've actually gone through my closet and looked, but I'm pretty sure that I have a t-shirt for every state. I might need a couple hats. Let me see. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana. Ooh, I don't have a hat for Montana, actually. Right now, it's just like a crummy, like, camouflage netting thing. I know I have a whole wall full of hats, but none of them are Montana specifically. So, I just, like, I don't have anything, for Montana. I really hope that, like, 40 people don't send me a Montana hat. Please don't. If just one. I just need one. And then Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey. I know there's probably some New Jersey people out there that are upset. I have a New Jersey Devils beanie, which means like half of New Jersey hates me and the other half really likes me. Hey, thanks for the donations, DJ Hayden 007 and J Rome 20. Appreciate you guys. New Jersey, New Mexico. Now we got to roll over here. We have New York, North Carolina. North Carolina has one of my favorite hats. It's a cookout hat, and it's absolutely wonderful. North Dakota. I have a national champions hat for North Dakota, but it's like a flat bill snapback, and I don't really like the flat bill. They make my head look real small. I don't know what else would be worn in North Dakota, though. My Kansas hat is actually a Kansas City Chiefs hat. That's part of the joke. I think it's hilarious that Kansas would steal a Kansas City Chiefs hat. Okay, so I have Ohio, Oklahoma. So I have the only hat that I have for Oklahoma is an Oklahoma City Thunder hat. And I feel like that's an okay like description, but there's probably more to Oklahoma than just the OKC Thunder. So, Ben, should I ask my crush for his number? Yes, you should. Tay Bug, go for it. I believe in you. Do all of the things. The Navy midshipman football team with the colors being. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Let's see. And then I have a couple hats for Oregon, but they're both Oregon Ducks. And I know some people are upset at that, but I have 2 Oregon Duck hats. Pennsylvania. Okay, I think I need a new Pennsylvania hat. Because the one I have is Penn State, which is cool, but it's another flat bill snapback, and these don't fit right. So, hey Ben, I have a question. Will states like New York be a little less serious when you do a video on the results? We were celebrating that Biden won. No, I think he's probably gonna be the same grumpy person. Maybe he'll be a little happy, but like he's not gonna change all that much. Yes, Tay Bug, tell us all how it goes. Are you asking me if I'm an e-girl or a soft girl? I'm both. Okay, I have a Puerto Rico hat. I have a Washington, D.C. hat, but it feels real basic to me. It feels like something a tourist would buy when they're visiting the National Mall. It's just, it's an American flag, and it says the words Washington, D.C. on it. That's about it. I have a Puerto Rico hat, which is pretty cool, even though I don't play Puerto Rico. I have a Washington Cougars hat, I guess. People kept telling me go Cougs when I wore it. So I have a Washington, wherever college is the Cougars. And then I have a South Carolina Gamecocks hat, but I don't have a Clemson hat. And I know people get upset at that because they want a Clemson hat. I have a cool Tennessee hat. I also have a Memphis hat, which I don't think I'll wear, but it's a cool hat. I have 2 Utah hats, one for the U of U and one for BYU. If I could get a Utah hat that doesn't have a college affiliate on it, that'd be pretty cool. I have a Vermont hat that just says Vermont. And I'm pretty sure it's from the University of Vermont, but all it says is Vermont. And I think that's kind of funny. I have a Virginia Tech hat, but that's the only Virginia hat that I have is just Virginia Tech. And I know that really bothers people. I have a couple West Virginia hats, and one of them is a Mothman hat. And I love it so much because I love Mothman. And then I have 2 Wyoming hats. So, yeah, I pretty much have something for everyone now. Which is pretty cool. There's like a couple different like hats that I'd like to get like an extra one or just a different one. But Alaska, I have the, the thing, the very comfy, very warm hat. No, I don't have a Texas Longhorn hat. I just have that, fake cowboy hat for Texas. What do I think of California as a state? What? I think it's too big. We could probably cut it in half. If there was one place in Florida I would want to visit, where would it be? Oh, what kind of question is that? I live in Florida. I can just go to those places. I don't. There's no like nothing stopping me from visiting a part of Florida that I want to visit. I just don't. Did I watch the Notre Dame versus Clemson game last night? I did not. Although I saw that Notre Dame won. Wild. Good for them. Do I have anything for the UP? I do not. I have the accent. I can do the accent, but how far am I willing to travel for comedy? I'll go anywhere. I love travel and I love comedy, so if you can combine them, I'll go anywhere. Okay, yeah, so this is a question you asked earlier, and then I said that I would answer it. Got J1472. Hey, Ben, do you think Biden will make progress fixing the political divide in America? I really do. Not that I believe in, like, super heavily in Joe Biden himself, but I believe the DNC picked a boring old man for a reason, and Joe Biden's a pretty boring guy. The thing that Biden will do, because I'll tell you right now, his rhetoric for his entire campaign and his rhetoric for this entire 4 years is going to be about coming together as a nation. It's going to be about uniting. Whether he has policies that do that or not, it doesn't matter, because the position of president is a lot more about your words, not so much your actions. You can speak a lot of power to things when you are the president of the United States of America. Your words hold a lot more weight than, any other position or any other person. So when you say, you like one thing, you hate one thing, you believe in something, you don't believe in something, that carries weight, right? So the thing with the Trump presidency, there's not a whole lot of like paper evidence of Trump hating people, but there is a lot of dog whistling and then paper evidence of other people acting out his dog whistle. Like an example of that would be to like when the pandemic began, a lot of Trump's rhetoric was borderline pandemic not real, science not real, masks don't work. And now we're 7-8 months in, still in a pandemic, because when Trump said that we shouldn't listen to experts, a lot of people felt empowered by that. There's like a lot of people in the country that have that opinion, and they want to act on it, and then the president gave them that opportunity to act on it. So they felt empowered by his words. They felt encouraged. They felt right, because of that's what he said. But when you look at it, there's no like paper evidence. Trump didn't like pass a law that said, masks don't work or anything. He just kind of mentioned it a few times, and that was enough to give power to people, because his words hold a lot of weight. And I think what we're going to see out of Biden is a really safe presidency. I don't think we're going to get anything crazy. Like, his tax plan really isn't even that crazy. Like, there have been times in recent history where we taxed millionaires at 99%. But we're all freaking out because Biden wants to tax $400,000 and above at 60% on a progressive scale. Like, that doesn't... these are things that we're told to freak out about, but they will have very little effect on a wide majority of us. I don't. We're gonna see a real safe presidency from Biden. All of his rhetoric is going to be about coming together and peace and uniting. I don't think we're gonna see some progress, but I don't think we're gonna see anything crazy. Like, I doubt we'll see universal health care under Biden. I doubt we'll see a whole lot of. I'd like to see some environmental progress, saving the environment, saving the planet, climate change and all that stuff. I think that is the safest progress we're gonna see from Biden is on the climate and on the environment. I don't think we'll see expansive economic reform towards, the left by any means. I don't think we're gonna see healthcare, education become this crazy progressive thing. But I think the best part is that we're not all gonna wake up to the most insane tweets at 4 a.m. I think we'll probably, in the next 4 years, if we all try to avoid politics, in the next 4 years, we'll probably see like 4 stories about Biden in the next 4 years. 4 to 6. I'll give you guys, if you like avoid turning on CNN or Fox or whatever, you're gonna see 6 stories about Biden over the next 4 years. And I think that's just gonna bring a lot of peace to a lot of people. Yeah, I think we're gonna get comfortable again in the next 4 years. I hope. I don't think it's gonna be quick by any means. I don't think Biden's not gonna take office in January and then by February we're gonna be like, calm. I think it's gonna take like a year or two before people forget to care about the other side. I think just like 2 years of Biden doing virtually nothing is going to make people forget to care. And I think that'll be the best for most of us. I think, oh man, when everyone forgets to care after 2 years, we're all gonna feel so much better. What do you mean, so over half of your income, saw Buck Vanderberg? If you're on my TikTok live at 2:21 in the morning Eastern time, you probably don't make $400,000 in a year. Because that's less than 1% of America that makes that. So, statistically, you are not going to be affected by that tax. But the other thing is we're on a progressive tax scale. So even if you do make over $400,000 in a year, not 100% of your income will actually be taxed at 60% is the thing. So if you make like $450,000 a year, which by the way is more than 99% of America, if you make like $450,000 in a year, only what's above $400,000 will be taxed at 60%. So that last $50,000 will be taxed at 60%, which, what's that? $30,000. So if you make $450,000 in a year, and you have 0 tax write-offs, by the way, which not gonna happen. You're going to have tax write-offs. If you're making $400,000 a year, you're going to have a lot of tax write-offs. So if you make $450,000 a year, only $50,000 of that will be taxed at 60%, which is $30,000. So if you make $450,000 in a year, you get to keep most of that, like $400,000 of it. I'd say if you had zero tax write-offs, I'd say you'd probably only owe $50,000 in taxes of your $450,000. You would still be keeping like $400,000, and if you had a bunch of tax write-offs, you'd keep even more than that. But the reason someone said, "Oh, wow, the sound is so different." Did you come from TikTok, Sleeping Atlantic? Right. So the reason we would want to tax the reason we'd want to tax more, right? For a couple reasons. One, we want to chip away at the deficit, right? Oh, the microphone I'm using, yeah, it's a blue microphone. That's just what it's called. The reason we tax heavily the rich people for a couple reasons. One, we want to chip away at the deficit, which it keeps going up and up and up because of our out of control military spending, and just like Republicans are not good at spending tax money. Not that I think the Democrats are much better, but like the Republican belief is just that like no taxes. So when they do have tax money, they just kind of do whatever they want with it. So they'll overspend here and they'll underspend there, and basically, like historically, Republicans grow the deficit and Democrats shrink the deficit. It's just how it always goes. Money isn't real, so none of that matters, but what about trickle-down economics? When the rich are taxed, they raise prices and lay off employees. Right. So there's a couple different things, right? So when we heavily tax the rich people in the country, those are generally going to be your business owners, your CEOs, people that control income flow to other people. And when you look at trickle-down economics from one direction of, if you give rich people money, they'll hand it out. No, that's never worked. Economically, that's a terrible system, and Ronald Reagan should be ashamed of himself. But when you look at trickle-down economics from the other direction, where if you take money from rich people, they're still not going to help the people below them. So the idea when you tax heavily rich people is that you want to give them a way out of paying taxes. And when you look at business expenses, the way out of paying taxes would be to take an income cut yourself, like stop paying yourself in an exorbitant amount of money, and instead pay all of your employees more money. So when you pay more money to your employees, that's a bigger tax break for you. And when you take less money yourself, that's also putting you under that threshold of that 60% tax bracket. So we're trying to force their hand to pay their employees better. Will that happen just from that tax plan? I don't think so. There needs to be other ways of doing it. There has to be some sort of law system to keep CEOs from just being greedy CEOs and actually treating their employees like human beings, which we don't have that stuff. Again, every 4 to 8 years, we get a Republican in that will relax the laws against businesses, and then the businesses will go back to treating people like products instead of human beings. And then you get the Democrats in there, and they just put regulations on regulations on regulations on business, which are meant to help or force the businesses to treat their employees like human beings, but a lot of times there's just this red tape, and now business is harder to run. That's like the chief argument against Democrats in office from the Republicans. They don't know how to run business. It really just kind of boils down to Republicans care more about money than people, and Democrats tend to care more about people than money. That's not a thing that you'd be able to apply to everything on a specific thing. I bet there's a lot of Democrats in office that don't care about you at all. But that's just like when you look at their platforms as a whole from a macro level, that's kind of the feel that you get. Be prepared for gas to go way up again. I don't think so. I'm actually curious. I've heard that from a few people already, and I'm actually curious why you think things will just get more expensive immediately under Biden. Is it the tax plan? Because that's an individual thing. That's not a business thing. Businesses aren't going to take a hit. So like, I don't understand, like, I granted, I don't watch CNN or Fox, so I don't know what lies are being told to each side. I know, like, historically, Fox is a lot worse about the stuff that they tell. But they're both super biased, so it's just weird to me to see I see the conspiracies coming at me from the other end. It's like a game of broken telephone where one person will, like, Biden will say one thing, and then Fox News will not hear it correctly, but then say it the way that they felt like they heard it. And then the Republicans that watch Fox News will not hear that correctly, and then tell me like what they understood about it. It's just like a three-way broken telephone game, and then I'm hit in the face by like a conspiracy that doesn't make any sense. And now I have to make a video on TikTok about how it's a conspiracy that has no real evidence. And I don't listen to CNN either, so I don't get that side of it either. So I'm just actually curious. You think inflation is the reason things are going to get more expensive? I'll be here to tell you right now, man, inflation is going to happen every single year, no matter who the president is. You can go back and look at it, man. Inflation, like, historically in America, we have a 3% inflation rate every single year. Things are going to get expensive no matter what. So, like, that's a weird explanation I hear about, like, against the $15 minimum wage, is that if we raise the minimum wage, then prices will go up. I have something to tell you, man. We haven't raised the minimum wage in, like, 20 years, and prices have still gone up. Things will get more expensive regardless of how much you make as a person. So, I would rather my income keep up with that inflation. Higher cost of production leads to higher cost. Great. You may have passed one lesson of high school macroeconomics. I don't think that, like, that comment speaks enough about you being able to connect macroeconomics with microeconomics with political policy. I don't think you have that connection based on the fact that you just told me product cost go up in a TikTok live at 2:30 in the morning. There are a lot of people that are way more educated than I am about this kind of stuff, and those people don't seem to be worried. I really desperately want to go back to people believing experts when they say things. Can we please, like, stop listening to a Fox News anchor about economic policy? Read The Economist. Bro, there's actual ways to learn about economics other than a political guy, you know, and the political guy is gonna get it wrong on purpose because he doesn't want you to believe that good things will happen if someone else does something else a different way. Economist here, what's the question? I honestly forget. It's not really a specific question. It's just understanding how economics and politics play together. There's a lot of people don't really understand. There's a big disconnect. Like someone will say one thing politically, and then people will just believe whatever they want economically. Yeah. I also like. I don't like Joe Biden. Like he wasn't my first pick. You know. So when Joe Biden says things like, I'm not going to stop fracking, I'm going to say, why, Joe? Why? I'm going to hold him accountable, too. My family is mainly concerned with Biden's attack on guns. What do you think on that? Follow-up question. Do you think that there will be an episode where Texas feels blue for a bit? Okay, so about Texas, I'll answer that one first. Maybe I'll just bring Austin out a couple more times. Texas almost flipped. About the guns thing, what I would ask your parents in response to their fear about they're gonna take our guns. Biden has been in Congress or in the Senate or whatever for 37 years, I think. I don't know, somewhere around there. He was the vice president for 8 years under Obama very recently. Do they still have their guns? If Biden was going to take guns, he has had ample opportunity. Every Democrat has had ample opportunity to actually try to take guns, and nobody has actually tried to take guns. So that is a baloney argument against Democrats because nobody's ever actually tried to do it in history. And also Trump, I believe, passed gun control laws. Like he banned a few things. It's not like Trump was out here just like super pro Second Amendment. He also had ample opportunity to relax gun control, and he added gun control. So do they think it's different when someone else takes their guns away? I'm confused by it. Yeah, I make politics so much easier to understand because politics aren't hard to understand, but the people that speak politics at you most of the time try to make it hard to understand, because if it was easy to understand, then they wouldn't have a job. Yeah, bump stocks. Trump took away bump stocks. I think a couple other things as well. So we've been trending in the direction of harder gun control every year, regardless of who the president is. So, no, Biden is just like every other president is not gonna take your guns, and it's silly, is what it is. I think it's silly that people are worried about that. That the most boring old white man in America is gonna take your guns. No, stop being silly. I'm good at pulling away the BS. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's all I want to do is pull away the BS. What I do, like, I don't care about guns, really. I care about murder and the fact that guns make murdering a lot of people very quickly easy. I live 7 minutes away from Pulse nightclub, and we all remember what happened there just a few years ago. That wouldn't have happened if the guy had a knife. Do I think he still could have hurt people? Yes. Do I think he still could have killed people? Yes. Do I think he could have done the same amount of damage without a gun? Not a chance in hell that man could have done that much damage without a rifle. But when you look at gun control, the most important thing that you need to understand isn't so much the idea of which party wants to take my guns and which party doesn't want to take my guns. The thing that you really need to understand about gun control is that the CDC, up until recently, wasn't even legally allowed to research gun control or gun deaths. Like, I need you, like, there were laws. There were laws passed by, Republicans with funding from the NRA that kept the CDC from researching gun deaths in America. And it wasn't until recently, like within the past few years, that the CDC has been allowed to research gun deaths. We have standard safety systems in our cars like airbags and seatbelts because the CDC researched car deaths and was like, these things will save lives. And then we did it, and sure enough, it saved lives. So if the CDC researches gun deaths, there's going to be a way that, we can live with guns, and we would also, like, murder would go down and we wouldn't take your guns. But until we allow that research to happen, we're still going to get mass murders. I see your comment that says shall not be infringed on, but what you're not understanding is the rest of the amendment. So you should probably read all of the Second Amendment and not just somebody's description of the Second Amendment, and don't just quote that one line from it. Because I know the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed on, but it also says a lot of other things. You know the entire thing, so you know that just quoting that one line out of context means absolutely nothing, and it's only going to incite people that really fear Biden taking guns away. That's that you're telling me, that you understand, and you're actively choosing ignorance. Like, that's what you're telling me. You're actively choosing to fuel ignorance by only quoting that one line from the Second Amendment. I've never had my door kicked in. You're right, but statistically speaking, neither of you. Like, how many home invasions do you think happen every year? Whatever number you're thinking, like, have that and then have that again. And I'm not saying that, like, you specifically haven't had your door kicked in. Home invasions are real. They happen. But, like, statistically, you could go your entire life guessing that everyone you meet hasn't had a home invasion, and you'd be right, like, 99% of the time. Yeah, and someone else already said it. Home invasions are usually done by somebody that they knew, like a friend or a family member. It's not like a stranger that was like, that house looks great. I'm reading some comments here and there. There's just a lot of comments happening. Wow, ignorance. Is it, though? Is it ignorance to tell you what's actually happening? Also, this is just a fun thing to say. Guns aren't protection. They're offense, not defense. And I know, like, people like to say the best defense is a great offense or whatever, but you're just trying to do more offense than the other guy, or a quicker offense than the other guy. Home defense would be like body armor. Like, if you bought your whole family like body armor, that would be home defense. This is mostly just a joke about semantics. David G, that's a real ignorant statement, but I'm not wrong. It's a joke about semantics, because guns don't stop bullets, is what I'm saying. Like if someone broke in your house and tried to attack you, killing them would be stopping them attacking you. It wouldn't actually be protecting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone tried to shoot you, the only time a gun would be actual home defense is if the gun blocked the bullet. That would be home defense. This is just a dumb thing about semantics, and it really upsets people because they ooh, guns, you know. And it's just really funny to me to see, like, people freak out about the semantics of it. Do I like Little Mix? Is that that's like the boy band or the girl band or something? I don't know. What process would I change? I mean, like, if I was the president and I could actually make change about gun control, I would probably just fund the CDC's research of gun control and then do what the experts say, because that's who I am. I'm very well aware that there are people way more educated about this stuff than I am, and I'll just listen to what they have to say. So fund the experts and then listen to them. I have a pretty basic policy as future president. Really? Has that worked for Chicago? So that's a thing you don't understand, and I'll explain that. They say it's safer to have a firearm. They haven't been allowed to do research. Stacks a million. It's literally been illegal for the CDC to do research about gun violence in America. And then now they've been allowed to do research, but they haven't gotten funding. They haven't gotten nearly enough funding to do real research. So when the CDC says it's safer to have a gun, they're saying that knowing that they haven't actually done any of the research. Also, there's statistics that show having a gun makes you more likely to be shot. So are you safer with a gun, or are you just more likely to be shot? These are two countering arguments that are both factual. You feel safer with a gun because you feel like you have power when you hold a gun. But having a gun also puts you in more danger. It's like a weird... Did you say, so the experts don't matter to me? They do matter to me, but we have to fund them first. If they haven't been given the funding to do research... yeah, the CDC looks at health hazards so guns apply. Right. There's been laws that have taken the gun part away from health and safety of the CDC. Like, they haven't actually been legally allowed to research gun violence. I'm telling you that. That's a real thing. It was recent, like within the past 10 years or something, that the CDC has been allowed to do the research, but they just haven't funded them. You say that like you've never held or trained. Stop. Just stop, dude. See, I have held and trained. I've shot a rocket at a tank. It's a lot of fun. but I also know what I'm talking about. Outside of being a guy that shoots guns, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm very willing to say that I don't know what I'm talking about when it's something that I don't know what I'm talking about. But these are the things that I'm telling you are things that I know. These are the things I'm talking about. I've shot everything. I have an expert badge. I have like 3 expert badges. I'm an expert rifleman. I can literally show you. I have an AAM for like shooting better than everyone. I have a challenge coin from a lieutenant colonel because I outshot him in a barrier shootout. Like I'm also very well aware that the average person doesn't go through nearly as much training as I did in basic. Have you met the average person? Do you trust that person with a gun and no training? Come on, bro, basic. Yeah, that's where you learn the first time to shoot as at basic. That's just, yeah, like that's a question that I feel like is very fun to ask, because most people, this is a weird statistic, the average person has a lower opinion of the average person than should be expected of the average person. That was a lot of the average person stuff, but like it's real. We think so much less of other human beings than they're actually capable of, and that's just around, like, that's, we all think so much less of the, and when I say the average human being, we all have like a really low expectation, but like generally their worth. So it's really fun to ask people like how poorly they think of the average person. It's usually pretty poor. And then you say, do you trust that guy with a gun and no training? And I think most people will say no, but then there are some people that'll have like a glitch in the matrix of their mind, because they're like, I don't, but I can't say it, you know? And I'm also not here to take your guns. I don't care, man. I'm just telling you the statistics of it. You're more likely to get shot owning a gun, but you also feel less safe without one. Because guns aren't really like a defensive thing, but they are a power thing. Owning a gun, knowing how to use a gun, having a gun gives you a sense of power, whether actually or unconsciously. You feel more powerful when you have and know how to use a gun. So that's why you feel safer with it, not because you actually are. Statistically, you aren't. Statistically, you're less safe when you have a gun, but because it gives you a feeling of power, that's why you feel safer with it. Isn't a sense of power just as important as actual power? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist who has done research about that, but I don't know, man. Like, I feel like if you walked down the street holding a broadsword, that would give. I feel like you'd be more powerful than somebody with a concealed carry. But this is just me being silly at this point. Like if we all just went back to holding lances, oh, that'd be a wild time. I wouldn't, like, if you're walking down the street and you just have like an actual sword on your back, but you look like you're gonna use it. That's the important. But if you look like you're going to use the sword that you're holding, I'm not gonna mess with you. Yeah, and swords are real heavy, and so are lances. But like that's part of it. That's part of the fear. Like if you just and you would just, oh man. Would this research include police officers killing POC? Well, there's independent researchers that do research on that. I'm not actually sure if the CDC is allowed to do that or not. Why would you walk down a street with a sword? Because fear is a thing that all humans have. So if you're afraid of being mugged in the street when you're walking down it by yourself, you want something to give you a sense of power to make you feel less afraid. And that's why people conceal carry or carry a sword. I've seen that before. Florida would carry sword. Florida would carry alligators. Pepper spray works great. Pepper spray does work great, but it's not nearly as scary as a sword. Most research I have read that poverty overwhelming is the greatest factor for just about everything. Yeah. So the general rule on that is the less money that the area has, the more crime that it has. So as money decreases, crime increases, because crime is desperation. Most crime like that is out of desperation. So if you put people in desperate situations, they're gonna turn to desperate measures. That's the old cliche. So if we, help people get out of poverty and help people stay out of poverty, crime is going to go down. It just, like, logically, if we get rid of poverty, help the people that are struggling not struggle, then crime will go down. Crime breeds Democrats? Oh, Lord, how many... Ooh, did you fall asleep with Fox News on and that's the sentence that came out of your mouth when you woke up the next morning? Crime breeds Democrats. Blah, blah, blah. What a gross thing to just say. Also, just a weird thing to just say. Let's just talk about Cheeto mac and cheese. Here's my thing about Cheeto mac and cheese. That's been a hood classic for years. Are you kidding me? And if they make it like hot Cheetos and mac and cheese, that's like Hispanic hood food. And it has been for years. I went to California a little bit ago. I went to California a little bit ago. We went to a restaurant that served hot Cheeto mac and cheese for like $15, and I was like as a kid that grew up poor in Daytona Beach, I was literally offended by a restaurant serving hot Cheeto mac and cheese for $15. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I was mad. I got angry. That's a $2 meal, if that. And you're gonna, yeah, it was a hood classic meal. They're just stealing recipes from the hood and then throwing it on a fancy menu and then charging like $15 for it. And I am, on behalf of hood meals, I am offended and I am angry of what California has done. Thank you for that donation, David L. Let's see. Hi, how are you? I'm well. I'm a little tired. How's Annie? She's doing good too. How's the table doing so far? Always a little bit of chaos. And by the way, love your videos. Thank you so much for that. My old job sold Cheeto mac and cheese for $5 and I ate it every shift for a month. $5 is better, but thanks for the cake, June Bloom 28. Stacks a million. Like, I know you're just a right-wing troll, but like, I also know children are reading this chat, so I do feel the need to say $15 minimum wage makes price go up. You're not like wrong, but you're wrong. That's really not like a thing that you should fear, because like your wage increase when you go to a livable wage, minimum wage, that increase to that new minimum wage is going to be a lot more than what businesses will have to raise prices by to offset. College isn't a right. I think it is. Healthcare also a right. I feel like you guys are just being trolls now for the sake of it. As long as higher education is being used as a form of classism to separate people, then higher education should be available to everyone. Because if you're holding jobs from people because they don't have a college degree, but you're not giving equal access to college, then that's just a classist divide. So as long as college is a thing that you're using to separate rich people from poor people, then it needs to be maybe not free, but just accessible, equally accessible to everyone. Thanks for that donation, Emily Barney. Hey, Ben, what are your thoughts on a collaboration on reading The Cajun Night Before Christmas? I am going to read it dressed as Louis for Christmas. It's going to happen. It's a wonderful book. I love it so much. So I'm going to dress up as Louis and read it for Christmas. I feel like over here is better. Saxamillion, you're brainwashing these poor children. Yeah, man, I can't. God, I'm so sorry that I'm brainwashing children with like facts and statistics. Like, if I'm gonna brainwash children, I'm glad I'm doing it with like the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather just like, on the count of 3, you'll fall asleep, and when I snap my fingers, you'll know facts. Like, I know. Wayne Cruz, you're a joke. No, sir, I tell jokes. I'm not a joke. I'm actually fairly educated. So, as a Republican conservative, I still find you bloody hilarious and forget all the trolls. Thank you? We fully disagree on the conservative platform. But as long as you think I'm funny. And I'm ugly. You got me, Wayne. Wayne, just for my own peace of mind, just in parentheses, let me know that you're joking. And then you can go back to doing whatever it is that you were doing. But just for my own peace of mind, just give me a hint that you know you're being insane right now. Like, it's on purpose. Yeah, we can be chill, but you're not joking? You don't think healthcare is a right and higher education isn't a right? Then, brother, I don't know what to tell you, man. Do you... A mandatory minimum wage isn't a right? I feel like you just hate poor people. Thanks for that donation, Hannah H. Hey, love your videos. What is Cheeto mac and cheese? I've never heard of it, even though I grew up poor. It's exactly what it sounds like, Hannah. You make mac and cheese, and then you put Cheetos on it. They are not rights. Wayne is correct. I'm gonna disagree with you there. I feel like health and education. I'm poor. I have a GED and a can-do attitude and make more than minimum wage. Wayne, I'm proud of you, bud. But you have a fundamental misunderstanding of poverty. If you think that, you know, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is just the thing that gets everyone out of it. Most people were born into poverty, and there's just like an insane amount of struggle that you have to go through to get out of poverty in the first place. And there are people that do it, right? There's people that struggle through poverty and get out. And then there's two ways you can look back on it. There's either the one way where you can look back on your struggles and poverty and you can say, that was terrible. I'm going to make sure that nobody has to struggle like that just to survive. Or you could look back on it and say, I did it, why can't you? And that just makes you an old, crotchety person. And it doesn't really make you right either, because there are people that can't just work out of poverty. That's not how poverty works. Hey, thanks for that donation, Ninja Near 324. Hey Ben, love your videos. 2 questions. 1, is that mic a Blue Yeti? Yes, it is. 2, has anyone gotten mad at you over your state impressions? Yeah, all the time. When I started speaking out for Black Lives Matter, there are a lot of people in my inbox that were like, you've just lost a follower. And I was just kind of like, well, I didn't really want you to be a follower of me saying Black Lives Matter is a thing that's going to make you leave. Wayne said, rugged individualism. Yeah, man, rugged individualism is what's going to destroy the society. Like, rugged individualism has never progressed a society. And rugged individualism will destroy it. So it's okay to stereotype people if he does it because he's funny. No, I just do it in a way that's not racist, Wayne. I feel like you probably struggle with that. Given all of your opinions tonight, you probably just say racist things and then you go, but it's just a stereotype. Whereas I actually make jokes. Also, I don't stereotype groups of people. I stereotype states. Like, I can stereotype North Dakotans. They like hot dish casseroles. I can't stereotype indigenous people because I'm not racist. Kelly Jokanovich, thank you for that donation. How have you been taking care of your mental health? You've been covering some big stuff, and I don't want you to burn out. Love you and the content right now. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. I've been doing my best. Does that help? I try to get 8 hours of sleep at night. I try to drink enough water during the day. I try to work out just enough, you know, but with all the big stuff that's happening, it's been hard to stay, you know, rested. And I think soon I'll probably be able to rest again. So that'll be... Yeah, man, Wayne, I hope for your sake that this is just like a character you're playing and this isn't actually how you are as a person. Again, for your sake, because it feels like you live a very sad and lonely life. And if I'm wrong, well, I won't believe you. Because you just sound like an old, grumpy, crotchety person who hates most people and thinks the world is out to get them or whatever, man. I don't like it. You're not really breeding a positive environment. There's ways to have disagreements with people. You're not doing that. So I'm just going to remove you and wish you the best. How did I get involved with Patty Cake and Bump in the Night? They actually reached out to me to play Cameron Boyce in like a Descendants themed thing that they were doing. Because I look like Cameron Boyce, so they wanted me to play his character in Carlos. Yeah, they wanted me to play Carlos in like the Descendants video, and they liked me so much they wanted me to be in another thing. And Stacks a Million as well. You guys really don't add anything of value to the conversation. You just do a lot of yelling and disagreeing. Which is kind of annoying. Is he banning people? I don't actually get the chance to ban people for some reason on YouTube. I can just hide them. Like their comments will stop showing up. Yeah, guys on TikTok, I'm also live on YouTube, which is why I keep looking up here. And then people on YouTube, I'm also on TikTok, which is why I keep looking down here sometimes. I'm fine with people presenting like different ideas and having a stance and an argument. I'm not fine with right-wing trolls. Like, and I don't mean specifically right-wing trolls. I don't like any trolls, but these three were specifically right-wing trolls. The Supreme Court doesn't predict the winner. We do. Okay. I don't know if that was... do I have a Twitch? I do, but I'm switching over to YouTube. I just do all my gaming on YouTube now. So if you want to see me live stream video games and stuff, I actually played earlier tonight. I was playing Mario Kart and Among Us earlier on YouTube. So if you follow me on YouTube, you'll get to see me streaming games and stuff. F Trump and F Biden. Just gonna put that out there. That's fair. How do I think Biden is going to handle COVID? I don't think he's gonna handle COVID, is the thing. I think he's gonna let the CDC handle COVID. I think Biden will just agree with the experts. Whatever the experts suggest is what Biden will do. And whatever Biden suggests will be run through a bunch of people to see if that's what will happen. You know, it's not just whatever Biden says. I'm pretty sure that Biden said he wasn't going to go back into a lockdown. Biden, yeah. So fact check from Reuters, Biden did not say that if elected, he will lock down the country until everyone is vaccinated. It's not a thing that he said he was going to do. Logan, I understand you want to be my Secretary of State, bud, but if I become president, I don't think a dibs system is probably the best way to do that. The only thing that I really think will change. Well, yeah, so Biden says, here's the quote from ABC. Biden says, I would be prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. When pressed on whether he would shut down the country if scientists advised him to, Biden said, I would shut it down. I would listen to the scientists. Right, so that's probably the quote that got taken out of context quite a bit. But he did also follow it up by saying, there's going to be no need, in my view, to be able to shut down the whole economy. He says, quote, I got asked by David Muir, I don't know. I got asked by David a question if I was asked to shut everything down. I took that as a generic question am I going to follow the science? So, like he said it, but it was taken out of context. He's very much just saying, Muir, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. So Biden's very much just saying that he's going to listen to scientists, which is good. I think listening to experts is going to do us well. Listen to people who have been educated and done research their whole lives on a specific thing is probably a really good direction. Listening to smart people is good. That's my... guys, look, a lot of you have kept saying Brainerd 2024, and that's wrong. I can't run until 2032. So if you're going to say it right. It's Brainerd 2032. But my whole slogan is going to be Brainerd 2032. I'm going to listen to the experts. I mean, logically, I'm probably not actually going to run in 2032, but I am going to keep making that joke. Everyone say bye to Fathom in the TikTok chat for being for spamming the shooting star thing. Who the heck disliked this wonderful content? Probably one of the 3 right-wing trolls that I kicked out. Would I actually be interested in being involved in politics? Yeah, no, that's a thing I've thought about quite a bit. Not sure if I'll ever actually do it, but it's definitely a thing I've thought about. Yo, if you guys don't stop spamming the shooting star in the TikTok, I'm gonna be real mad. I hate 12-year-olds. can of coffee. Like, I doubt you have friends. Is this how you act? Why is this how you act? Stop it. If Barron Trump runs in 2055, Ben, I'm running against him, and I want you. Oh, poor Barron. We never really heard much about that kid. Ugh. I don't know if I should feel bad for him. Like, I don't know why. He's like the one Trump kid that nobody ever talked about. Like, he was never out there. You know? I wonder what's going on in that kid's head. I wonder if he's alright. I remember the Save Barron memes. Check on Utah. Utah had another earthquake. I know, it's a natural disaster. It happens. I'm sure there's a lot of damage in Utah. But just like every other hurricane that came before and every other earthquake that came before, they're going to recover. They're going to move on. There's nothing that I can physically do about an earthquake in Utah from Florida at 3:19 in the morning. Trump can still win, bro. Hopefully he does. For my own personal sanity, I hope he does not. I am tired. I am tired. I also statistically, no, he won't win. But I'll be happier when it's official. That's fine, bro. I hope he does, though. Not saying Biden is terrible, but I think Trump is better. I think you're wrong. I don't think Biden's good, but I think Trump is just probably one of the worst human beings in America. Just personality-wise, I don't think he's got, like, a decent bone in his body. Based off of the things that he says and does, I don't think he cares very much about anybody other than himself. So I think the Republican Party could have picked a better person to run. He ran on like a whole platform of hatred. All of his rhetoric was just how much he doesn't like other people. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party both could have picked much better people to run. Thanks for that donation, 49J Hammy. Trump will give you more content than Biden. You might actually miss him. Ask Jon Stewart about W. Bush versus Obama. No. I'm fine. There's other things that are happening. Also, being in the entertainment industry, I know people that have worked with Trump, like, on set during The Apprentice and all that. And even them, like, not even on a political sense, they were just like, yeah, he's a terrible human being. Oh, I do kind of want to put this out there. I'll make a video about it. But the whole idea, like, we don't really know what happens next, right? You know, there's a lot of people dancing in the streets because Biden won, And then there's a lot of people that are just like, hey, he hasn't won yet, which is fair. So what actually is supposed to happen next, right? We're going to see a couple recounts, I think. Yeah, I think if Trump just didn't speak, like, or if he stayed on script, if Trump stayed on script, if he didn't have a Twitter, I think he could have gotten a lot more accomplished in 4 years than he did. But unfortunately, like, all of his words kind of breed hate and division. So it made half the country hate him a lot more than they usually hate Republican presidents. Yeah, I know it's not his brand. He's a narcissist. Like, he's a textbook narcissist. So staying quiet is not a thing that he could do. But if he read the script or just stopped speaking, he could have gotten a lot more done in his term than he did. The only comment I saw was, I agree with these other Trump supporters, but I didn't see what their other comments were. How do you send me stuff? I have a P.O. box on my website you can just check out. Just go to benbrainerd.com and I have stuff. Do I plan on him conceding? No, I don't think he'll concede. Like I've said, he's a textbook narcissist. He will not concede. He will drag this out as long as he can possibly drag this out. I'm not even sure if he'll, like, walk out of the White House or if he'll have to be dragged out of it. And this isn't me just like, I hate Donald Trump and he's the worst and blah, blah, blah. No, he's legitimately, like, if there were a psychiatrist or a therapist or a psychologist somewhere in this chat, they could back me up. And he's like textbook narcissism is Donald Trump. And I think it just, like, if you know anything about narcissism or textbook narcissism, you could predict his next moves. And I don't think he'll concede. There will not be a peaceful transition of power, or however it is. Yeah. So a psych major literally just commented, I am a psych major. We used him as an example of it in class. He is the textbook example of narcissism. And that's not just like an opinion that I have. That is objective. Like, they're teaching him in class. So I think just understanding narcissism will help you predict his next moves. And he's not going to concede. I don't think there's going to be a peaceful transition of power. I think what's probably going to happen, depending on how obsessive he is, he's not going to do anything until he's like, this is going to be the only thing that he focuses any time or effort on, is just this. I mean, I certainly hope he'll do a peaceful transition of power. But don't expect a quiet lame duck period. But also don't expect much to get done, because depending on how obsessive he is in his narcissism, he's only going to have a attention span for this rigged election or whatever. So if you're hoping for, I don't know, a stimulus to come through, I wouldn't hold your breath. I don't think he's going to spend much time. Your best bet is to email a lot of your representatives and hope that they can get something done without him. Thanks for that donation, Engineer. Blue Yeti is an awesome mic. The cardioid setting is so nice. That's what I'm on right now. And I actually just ordered a pop cover for it, so that'll be in like a week. Do you have any opinions on groups like Lincoln Project and other Never Trump Republican groups? Yeah, I think we needed them. I think we needed the Lincoln Project to spread a lot of information about, like, negative information about Trump, just to get people to go out and vote. But I do not like the Lincoln Project. How do I feel about the results of the election? Just like every other result that we've had in American history, that's the result, man. Would Jorgensen have done us better? I think she would have done us more gracefully, but not better. The Libertarian platform is not a good platform, in my opinion. My hair looks great, thank you. The whole libertarian platform is about not doing anything for anyone. It's like libertarianism is like rugged individualism taken to the nth degree. Like, it's pushed as far to one side as possible of rugged individualism. It's like, if the government does anything for anyone, the libertarian platform wants to get rid of it. The nicest possible way to describe the libertarian platform is that they want to leave people alone. But I think a more accurate description of libertarianism is they want people to fend for themselves. Thanks for that donation, Florence Dragongale. Honestly, Lincoln Project was wholly a failure, as 93% of Republicans still went for Trump. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, my shirt says Tom and Dan. They're a big thing in Orlando. Have I lost power? No, I haven't yet. I live in Orlando, though, so I'm, like, in the middle of the state. So it takes a minute for the hurricanes to get to me. Libertarian here. Can I defend us? I mean, you can try, but I just don't like your platform. It's too individualistic for me. There's just, like, there are too many people in the country right now that if you just had them fend for themselves, they wouldn't make it. And that's not the way that I, like, roll. Like, there's a part of their platform is getting rid of minimum wage and letting businesses pick their own minimum wage. I don't think that'll go well. I think libertarianism is just a really good way for greedy businessmen to be even more greedy. Like, businesses won't be kinder to their employees if they have less restrictions. Yeah, Drew, survival of the fittest. Man, that's one way of saying it, but you're just telling me straight up that you're okay with unfit people dying. And quote unquote unfit people in this scenario are just poor people. Literally, what you're telling me about the libertarian platform is you believe that poor people should die. And I don't think that's what you actually believe, Drew. But, like, that's what you're telling me. And honestly, I don't think you're far off. Did I get a haircut? I did. I had to go to drill this weekend. If you don't have the necessary skills and don't want to contribute to society, why keep you? Well, instead of having that outlook, why don't you ask more questions about that person? You know, why don't they have the skills? I think a lot more often than not, it's because nobody's ever taught them things. So instead of just telling someone that they're useless, how about you teach them to be useful? Flip it. Look at it from the other side. There are people that don't have skills, but instead of telling them that they're useless, just teach them a skill. I don't think that should be that difficult of a concept to understand. But also, I'm a fairly empathetic person, so I tend to care about other people regardless of who they are or how they are. So if you're not an empathetic person, that doesn't make you wrong or worse than other people. You didn't choose to be not empathetic. But it takes a conscious effort to think about other people. And I think we should all take that conscious effort in our regular everyday lives. Is when when we see somebody on the side of the road, it's not, well, that person needs to get a job. You think about them. Some people are out there because they're panhandling or whatever, but there are some people that are out there because, life just handed them lemons, but nobody taught them how to juice them. Thanks for that donation, Pamela. Ooh, that's a last name. Zesartarsky. Thanks for the live. I gotta get some Z's. I appreciate your opinions, intelligence, and conviction about science and morals. Fight the good fight. Thanks, Pamela. Get some good Z's. Yeah, okay, that's a good comment. You can't express empathy if it's never been shown to you. That's fair. Because just like every other skill, if I see somebody without empathy, it's not so much, well, you're useless. It's like, how do I teach this person empathy? And I don't know if I can teach people empathy, but if I can ask somebody to consciously think about someone else, I think that's a start. Trump's economic policies were better than Biden's, and Biden's social initiatives are better than Trump's. Finding a way to balance the two would be best, but the two-party system makes it impossible. Well, I'm not even sure if Trump's economic policies were better than Biden's, is the thing. The deficit got out of control. Like, I don't want to say out of control, but like the deficit increased. Like, and then pretty much every state ran out of money during the pandemic, and he refused to help people. So no, I don't think that Trump's economic policy was even like good. The deficit has, if you like, historically the deficit shrinks under Democrats and grows under Republicans. That's just historically, that's just how it goes. The deficit is always going up? No. Like I just said, historically it goes down under Democrats, it goes up under Republicans. Thanks for that donation, Naeem Siddiqui. Libertarians, if he don't know how to fish, oh well. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Also, the deficit doesn't matter because of inflation. It's why your 30-year mortgage is easier to pay in 25 years than it is day one. The debt is in U.S. bonds with structured payments. Oh, okay. I mean, even with that, I still don't think Trump's economic policies are good. What do you think about the Independent Party? Do you think they will ever have a chance? I'm an independent, so I like the Independent Party. We're independent for a reason. It's not that we want a chance. It's just that we're open to everything. We don't subscribe to the methodology of the two-party system or the two parties that have been presented to us. So we're independent. I think everyone should be independent because I don't think parties should exist. Why does Biden want to end the oil industry? I feel that will hurt the economy severely as well as put millions out of work. I'd have to do more research about that, but probably because of the environment. We're trying to, save the planet. Yeah, but also, as Ashley Fugate says, it's not a renewable resource. Oil is a finite resource. We will run out of oil. So I think moving away from oil isn't a bad idea. And if you do it properly, you're going to open up more jobs. So yeah, oil workers are going to lose their jobs, but then they can just find jobs in the other industries that are taking the place of the oil industry. Because you still need power, So it's going to be solar power. It's going to be wind power. Renewable energy sources still need people to work. We're probably going to have more jobs under renewable resources than we do under the oil industry. So if anything, we're going to be making more jobs by moving away from oil. Thanks for that donation, 49J Hammy. Born Texan. Texans, when I was a kid, would have protected the opponent. I was a little embarrassed about the Austin Caravan. Everyone should be safe, even if you don't agree with them. Yes. And thank you for that donation, Alyssa Hadley. Do you have any opinions on AOC? As I don't live in New York in her district, I don't know too many specifics about AOC, but I know she's outspoken. Which is cool. I feel like if you're a politician and I don't know your name, then you're probably not doing anything. I think she fights for what she believes in, and she's young and she's a leader and she's smart, which is great, and we need more of that. So that's actually a misconception. The new renewable jobs that would be created would not be in the same places as oil and coal. It is a real issue that needs more thought than I can give. Yeah, so obviously they wouldn't be in the same spot. But the jobs would be there. It's not like we're making a net deficit in jobs in the country. We're creating jobs, and if people have to move for them, then people have to move for them. People have moved for jobs since the dawn of jobs. It would also be a lot easier to move, as Aaron says, it'd be a lot easier to move for a job if the country had a better social safety net. Because when you lose your job as the oil industry, you don't want to just, immediately go into poverty and lose your house. You want to be able to be saved a little bit. It's called a social safety net for a reason. Yeah, Florida's a closed primary state, but we just voted on that. Do I move for oil jobs all the time? No. But people have moved for jobs. People always move for jobs. Canada, we're starting to experiment with universal basic income. I saw that. That's super interesting. So, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But under the new Canadian UBI, right? Um, everyone is paid monthly wage. But gosh, it's been a while since someone explained this to me. I think it was like if you make, if you're working and you make income, you get more on a decreasing scale. So at a certain point of income, you stop getting that extra UBI though. So you make income no matter what. Yeah, basically UBI is something that will replace other social services. This is something that Andrew Yang ran on. The idea of instead of having to have like welfare programs, so we get rid of all welfare programs and you replace that with just like a monthly check. It sounds like communism to me. No, it's not. Communism would just be like, doesn't matter what job you work, government going to pay you. This is basically a bonus from the government. So you make your paycheck and then you get a bonus. What is my opinion on nuclear energy? It's great. I mean, it's clean. It's powerful. It's pretty safe regardless of what you've actually heard of. In Canada, they do not get UBI. They get an annual oil stipend. Because some policies at some point in Alaska, they get paid by oil companies to live in Alaska. And it used to be a lot. It used to be like $2,000 annually that they would just get from oil companies. But then like politicians started writing stuff and taking money from that. So now it's like $1,000 or so. If the government does UBI, there shouldn't be an income cutoff. I think I may have worded that weird. The government isn't paying your income. The government doesn't control your income. The government is giving you UBI regardless of what you do for your job. So you're getting paid your regular income, and then the government on top of that is paying UBI. The government doesn't actually control your income with UBI. That would be communism. That's not what it is. So the waste isn't negligible as it can infect groundwater, but in terms of environmental impact, it's kind of good, although the process of getting uranium and plutonium is wasteful as frick. Fair points. Science nerd probably knows more about nuclear energy than I do. Thank you for that donation, Florence Dragon Gale. You said UBI ensures students can focus on school, young parents can choose to stay home with their kids, but there is incentive to work to make things better. There you go. That's like a really basic and pretty straightforward description of UBI. Canada is trying something, so depending on their policies, it would change from them, but that's a pretty simple explanation of what it is. It's peace of mind. That's all it is. It's peace of mind. It's financial comfort. Does any country currently do UBI? I believe Canada is trying it. UBI is great. Just have to make sure companies don't get greedy and try to soak that extra money. Yeah, companies are greedy. We live in a capitalist system. They're very money driven. It's money first, people never. So if there is a way for companies to cut corners and make more money and pay you less, they're going to do it. With UBI, what keeps someone from just taking and not contributing? It depends on the system that is set up. Like I said, that was a basic explanation of UBI. That's not exactly what it is, and it depends on what system is set in place. But every system, there are incentives to work. Right, yeah. So under Andrew Yang's plan, it's $1,000 a month, which I don't know. If you live in Orlando, Florida, you need like $2,500 a month to live. So it's not enough to live. You could live in like government housing, but the incentive of working with UBI is just to get luxuries. You know, if you want to live in government housing with no phone and do nothing with your life, man, that's fine. I'm really not bothered. I'll be honest with you. But I don't think there are that many people that exist. I really don't. Like if we gave everybody in America, if we just started giving every single person in America $1,000 a month, I think the amount of people that would do nothing after that is pretty much negligible. Like I don't know. We can disagree, but I respect you and like you. Okay. Yeah, UBI is not like enough to live. So the incentive of working is, to live. Yeah. You just said you would work for your own sanity. Do you think you're the only person that thinks that in America? No. There's a lot of people that would work to keep their sanity. So I don't think it's a healthy mindset to think that there's like a lot of people out there that would just mooch if they could, because I don't think there are really that many people that do. Taxes are evil. They're not. Thanks for that donation, Florence Dragongale. It evens the playing field for workers. Employers couldn't treat employees like trash because they need their job. That's right. The more I learn about UBI, the more I like it. But I've talked a lot about a robust social safety net. If you guys have been on my lives before where I go on political rants, I talk about a robust social safety net, and UBI is one example of that. I think what you'll start to see, like if we do UBI, people won't settle for jobs that they hate anymore. I think people will actually be able to work jobs that they want. I think it would be a lot more pros than cons. I'm underestimating the negative side of human beings. I think you're overestimating the negative side of human beings. Yeah, we sort of saw how UBI would work with the stimulus we just got. It did save the economy from complete collapse. Yeah, there's benefits. There's a lot more pros than cons. Do I need a hug or a nap? I could use both of those. You have to plan for the worst case and hope for the best. Okay. UBI means universal basic income. Thoughts on all the voter fraud videos? I posted a video. You guys didn't see that? I posted a video of voter fraud. I went out my backyard with a Publix bag full of Trump votes, and I burned them. I burned them in my backyard because I am obviously a poll-working mailman who snuck out a bag of Trump votes, and with indisputable video evidence, I burned them all. I've spoken my stance on voter fraud a lot. It's not real. I mean, it's real, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, in 2 full decades, we've had 45 real cases of voter fraud. And we've caught them. We've been voting in America. Listen to this, okay? We have been voting in America for over 200 years. I think we figured out how to do it right. We've seen it all in the past 200 plus years. We know what to look for. Good night. Voter fraud definitely happened this election, but on both sides. I think you're wrong and you should stop saying that. Thanks for that donation, Evil Starlight. You made a face. Thanks for that donation, Florence Dragongale. I feel like you'd enjoy the Young Turks on here. I've heard about them, but I haven't really looked into them very much. What are the effects of UBI on taxes? I don't know. I guess that's probably up to the government that's writing in UBI. Leave that up to the economists. Shouldn't I be in bed? Probably. I am probably going to go to bed here in a couple minutes. Yeah, okay, so in Canada, UBI would still be taxable income, so wouldn't change the tax at all. Thoughts on the Electoral College? I have a few. I don't think the Electoral College needs to be real human people anymore. I think just the idea of the Electoral College works fine. And I also think that all states should do what Maine and Nebraska do, where they split their Electoral College votes based off of popular vote in their state. They break it down by congressional district. That would make people feel like their vote has more say. So get rid of the real people and then split the Electoral College votes by state. Right, I don't want to get rid of it completely because then, like, if there's no way to balance city people and farm people, you're basically telling people that live on a farm that their lives and their vote and their voice doesn't matter. So if you get rid of the electoral college, that entire system completely, you're just telling small town people that their voice doesn't matter. And even if you disagree with their voice most of the time, that's just an incredibly irresponsible thing to do. Is to tell somebody that their voice doesn't matter. I think it needs to be changed because the way that it is right now, the people who live in small towns have more say than the people who live in cities. That's just how that's just how it's shaken out in the past, 200 years. So I think some form of like splitting the electoral college votes would be the best way to do it. But again, I'm not like an expert on this stuff, so these are just that's just my opinions based off what I've seen, what I do know. I think a split electorate would be the best choice. Each state going with voting per congressional district will put more power in Republican hands. Unless you actually, realign the congressional districts. That doesn't mean necessarily. I don't think necessarily we should break it up by individual district. But like a swath, Like when you look at like the breakdown of Florida, there's a bunch of districts, but if you could just group several of those together into like a few smaller congressional districts, I think that's probably the best way to go. Max 2 electorates per state, period. No. Do you understand how much more power you're giving like empty states than full states? Like if California had the same number of votes as Wyoming, that would be insane. There are millions and millions and millions of more people in California than in Wyoming. So evening out all the electorate votes would just make small town people have way more power than city people. What is a generational difference you find strange with you and Gen Z? There isn't one. All generations are the same. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. All generations are the same. The only difference is the society that they grew up in, the how they grew up, like what's around them has changed, but people don't. So like there's this big generational difference, quote unquote, between like boomers and millennials. But if boomers grew up in this, like in our generation, like if you took your grandparents and you put them in our like years, they would act the exact same way that we do. I mean, that's just all people are the same. But they didn't, right? What I'm saying is they grew up in a different time. They weren't different than us. The time was. So everything around them affecting their lives was different. If our grandparents grew up in our time, they would act the same as us. And if we grew up in their time, we would act the same as them. People are the same. But, you know, the stuff around them changes. So the biggest generational difference between Gen Z and millennials has nothing to do with the actual people in those generations. It has everything to do with the societal changes. And I don't know if Gen Z's been around. There's probably not going to be much of a difference between Gen Z and millennials when it's all said and done. Corey Little. Socialism won't work anywhere other than all of the countries where it does work. You gotta probably look more into that one, bud. Socialism hasn't worked in places where America hasn't wanted it to work. We kind of destroy socialist governments whenever we can. But there's a lot of big countries that have socialism, and they're doing very well. Thanks for that donation, Michael. What do you think of a policy of build here from scratch to sell here? Also, have you read the book Freedom by Daniel Suarez? I don't know if I understand the question you just asked me. What do I think of a policy of build here from scratch to sell here? I don't really understand. Corey Little says, socialist ideas may find breadth in programs, but true socialist countries tend to fail. Again, incorrect. The information is out there if you look for it, but he says made in America, like a policy to force people to make American products. We have socialism here, corporate socialism. That's fair. What do I think of a policy of, forcing American products to be made in America? The idea of America first is like, uh-oh. Did my live freeze? I wouldn't be able to do what I do now if our country was socialist, right? I don't think you understand what socialism is. There are TikTokers that live in Canada or Switzerland. Like, I could still be a comedian in a socialist country. I think you have a misunderstanding of what socialism is. But forcing it on people seems extreme. Well, how do you feel about capitalism? Forcing capitalism on people. Is that not extreme? Yeah, someone said it in here. It's arguably easier in a socialist country. Yeah, because in socialism, there's like a robust social safety net, which breeds creativity and art because you don't have to worry as much about where your next meal is coming from. Capitalism is very much a survival of the fittest. People live paycheck to paycheck. There are people right now that don't know where their next meal is coming from. That's way less frequent in like a properly run socialist country. So when your government gives you a safety net to actually pursue your dreams and whatnot, I think it breeds creativity and entertainment, and yeah. then. You saved my life with your skits. I'm so glad to hear that. Valtiera Jose. I'm glad I could help you out. Why do I think caffeine and the subsequent addiction to is so commonplace and accepted in society? There's probably an argument to be had about capitalism and that it makes money. There's probably an argument to be had about capitalism, how it forces us to burn the candle at both ends, and therefore caffeine is necessary. There's probably an argument about how caffeine isn't really that dangerous of an addiction to people outside of yourself. So some combination of those things. Full socialism cannot compete, especially on a global stage, with competing prices of goods. I don't think that's true. If that were true, then there would be 0 socialist countries. But there are several. And every single year they're voted the happiest countries in the world. So I don't think a socialist country has a hard time competing. How does your government fund that safety net? Oh, it would be taxes. I mean, my government doesn't fund it at all. We don't have a safety net in America. We have a welfare program that keeps getting ripped apart. But like the welfare program is the closest thing to a social safety net that we actually have. And it's not great. Too many people are on welfare. Well, do you know how to get them off welfare? Helping them. Just taking away welfare isn't going to help people get off welfare. I guess it will in a roundabout way, but that'll just make them die. Thanks for that donation, Wazzy89. I'm determined to get you to the Comedy Cabana here in Myrtle Beach. You're brilliant and the best thing to come out of 2020. I'll support you always. I appreciate that. The best way is to just email the club and tell them that you want to see me there. Create more job opportunities. I mean, no, I don't think it's that easy. Actually, like, I know it's not that easy. Just having job opportunities is not going to get people out of poverty. If you're not paying people a livable wage, then they're not going to live. Yeah, Corey says it. Mobility will help people get off welfare. Jobs are leaving inner cities, and when workers can't get to the suburban factories, they can't work there. We have a lot of, like, if you've ever traveled public transit in Orlando, you know firsthand that our public transit system is trash. Also, I've done a lot of research about welfare, and like 50% of welfare recipients are children. Just for your information, I think it's right around 50% of all welfare recipients are under the age of 18. So when you say that you don't want welfare, you're telling me that you don't want children to eat. You just don't know that's what you're saying because you haven't done the research on it. Some 50% of welfare recipients are children, and I think 66% of welfare recipients are either children or the adults that take care of them. So even if the other 33% were welfare leeches, which is a myth, by the way, even if the other 33% of people on welfare were quote-unquote leeches, I'm still feeding the 66% of children and their parents. Will I do cross collaborations with other YouTube channels? Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Would I say I'm right, conservative, centrist, liberal, or leftist? I'd probably put myself somewhere between liberal and leftist if that's the accurate way of ranking political systems. Oh, yeah. I have a Discord server. It is called the Brain Cells. Oh, we crossed 1,000. We have 1,000 people in there. There's a link on my website. If you go to my website, there's a button that says Discord. Any thoughts on conservatism? I don't like it. I don't like. A lot of conservative ideals are kind of entrenched in like fear and hatred. Yeah, the only conservative I like is environmental. The link to my Discord is on my website. Go to my website and then click the button that says Discord. Some guy said 500 is too much for a family of 3. That's insane. Yeah, somebody said regressive in the comments. That's conservatism is regressivism. They want to move backwards at this point. It's at this point, conservative ideals are taking away rights that have already been given to people. I mean, it used to be different, but now we have, gay marriage and abortions. So when you run on the conservative platform, you're trying to take those away. You're not trying to stay still. You're not trying to conserve. You're trying to go backwards. But it's 4 a.m. over here, so I am going to get some sleep. thank you guys so much for being on the live for as long as you were. I appreciate you. I've been trying to put a bigger emphasis on going live lately, so I'll be getting live more often than not. So I appreciate you guys. Have a good night. I'll see you again